did you find junk removal, and like what made you guys get in so young?
Well, I'll give you the start to that, and I'll let Rich finish up the story there. But pretty much just my dad did construction, his father's in construction and all that, so we pretty much already grew up in that kind of background of kind of doing stuff on your own. So starting out really younger, like 16, 17, worked for my dad a little bit here and there during high school. And then, kind of wanted to branch out a bit. My first car really happened to be a pickup truck. So with that, back when Craigslist was really a thing, just threw some ads up like, I'll move your stuff from if you buy it on Marketplace or if you need materials delivered, all just odd end type of job. And Rich was always there. We've been friends since we were like 5 years old. So we would always just run around and do that. And that's kind of how it got kicked off. And then from there, just kind of snowballed. But Rich had a little bit of junk removal experience before that as well. I'll let him kind of take it from here.
Yeah, so I right before I started driving, or right when I got my car, I started working for a junk removal company. That's about 20, 30 minutes from us. And at first, I just sold the items that they brought back from jobs and stuff like that. So I just got like a percentage of it, and then I got paid hourly for some things. And then I hopped on the truck for a couple jobs when they needed extra hands and stuff. And so I would go and do that. And then me and Nick were doing more and more stuff, more and more stuff. Started a lot with like moving stuff. And then we were going to do like some kind of delivery service or something. And then we were like, let's look into junk removal. So we got right into junk removal and then just started running from there, really.
I want to say shout out to Cisco Garcia in the chat. He says, "Good evening, guys." Cisco's the man. He's been instructing me on things to do and teaching me some great pointers. So what's up, Cisco? And guys, if you got any questions for these guys in the chat, just put it up there, and I'll make sure to run it by these guys for sure. So that's pretty interesting, bro. And when did this start? So when was it official? Like, when did you make this into a company? And how old were you guys when you did that? Because I mean, you guys look like babies now. I'm not, no disrespect or anything, but like, how old were you when you started?
So we started the summer of high school. So when we were 18, that's when we really were getting into it. We did like a leave for work program. So we get out at like 12 o'clock. And it was like towards the end of that year, we started to really do a lot more of those like side jobs and stuff. And then it was official in October 2017.
Yep.
Is when we actually filed everything. We pretty much went to like college for 2 weeks and then did all that and kind of like stopped going to class and told our parents like, look, we're not going anymore, but we did actually make our business legitimate. And then that was quickly followed up with, which I don't know if you've seen a video on this or not, but I try to help the New Jersey guys out in the group because a lot of them don't know. But about like 8, 9 months in, we got a fine from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for $28,000 for not having our license that we didn't even know existed. And they don't really, it's kind of hard to know about until like groups like this didn't exist then. Now it's like pretty much going around where people know. But yeah, we had to go through that. Ended up, going up to Trenton, a bunch of guys with suits sitting around a table. We're just sitting there like 18, didn't know what was going on. And they let us off with half. So $14,000 we had to pay on a payment plan for the first 2 years. And we
Wow, that is a learning experience at the beginning at 18 years old. Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Days before Christmas too.
Yeah, 2 days before Christmas, got a packet like this. We're like, maybe we could shut the business down and just like, go through and start another one. It's like, nope, it pierces right through your corporate veil, right to your personal name and everything. So we went through that. And honestly, the worst part about that was, the money hurt as well, but it was the fact that we didn't get our license for almost 2 years because that's how long it takes right now. If you were to go to apply to do junk removal in New Jersey, it takes you 18 months to 24 months to get your license to be able to do it. So in the meantime, we just did interior demolition, which is why we're so, that makes up still today probably 40% or so of our business. So we're really big into that. And the other thing we've realized now, like 7 years later, is that license does give us a huge barrier to entry for the state. So like a lot of these things I see on Facebook, everyone's always kind of complaining like, this guy would say, I'll do it for $50. How do I compete with that? That doesn't really exist in New Jersey. You pretty much have to be licensed. You catch people here and there, but like overall, it's not even close to what I see all around the country. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, at first when you said that, I was like, oh man, that's scary and all. But just like you said, man, we need stuff like that. That'll prevent what's going on because we got all these guys out in California that are running around on license, no insurance, no nothing. And those are the guys that are just, underbidding everybody and illegal dumping on the side. They don't give a shit. They're just doing that. So when you said that at first, I'm like, oh man, that is like horrible. But at the same way, just like you said, man, it's stopping a lot of people from just jumping in and all. But I want to make a point to that. Anybody listening, this is a real serious thing, man. If you don't have a license, because I know a lot of people, they just jump in right away and they'll figure it out down the line. You guys just heard, you get caught, what you're facing. You know what I mean? And it could even get worse than that, and they gave them leniency. I'm looking at as, they're looking at them as 18 years old and, they're just going to give them a smack on the hand, but, they might not do that for everybody. So that's why it's so important to be licensed and insured from the beginning. And God forbid, if you get in an accident or anything and you don't have the proper insurance, they'll take everything. And I mean, you're out of business instantly. So
100%. Yeah, that was like our next step that we were told was if we catch you again before you get your license, it was $56,000 and up to 12 months in jail. So
wow. Yeah,
we
they
didn't
don't
do
play.
junk removal for at least like 18 months until we got it. So
That's crazy, man. So want to shout out Jeffrey Landon in the house. He says, what's up, everybody? How are you doing today, brother? So yeah, I want to just get into some other topics, man. I want to find out. So you started off with a pickup truck, and that was kind of like the way you went, and that was enough for both of you, like, or did each one of you had your own pickup truck? Like, how did that all work at the beginning?
I had one briefly, but then I got rid of it, got something else. So we were just doing me and Nick in a pickup truck, just waiting, mostly advertising on Craigslist when we first started back then. It was pretty decent. And then quickly we realized you can't charge too much with just the pickup truck bed. So we got like a small trailer, it was like $300, $350. And then we started doing stuff with that. And then that ended up breaking or something. The axle snapped when we were driving. So then we got like a enclosed trailer, and then we got another enclosed trailer. Then we bought another truck. Then we bought a dump trailer, and we slowly like progressed throughout like until we got like our first actual truck. And we bought a box truck, weren't really able to use that, so then we sold that, and we got a hook lift truck, like a used hook lift truck for I think it was like 13,000 or 14,000.
Let me ask you, what happened with the box truck?
So it was we actually bought it in New York, and it was just really
graffiti
big.
on the side.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a good look and all that, like to go rolling up to them and in that.
Yeah,
No,
it wasn't ideal.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. It was basically like we bought it. The door was kind of messed up. It was just one thing where because we used to always be in before everything and like flipping our cars and stuff like that, buying cheaper cars, flipping it. So it was one of those things where like bought this box truck for like, I don't know, $3,000 in New York. We got it. We realized it wasn't really the right thing. So we just threw it online anyway, just to see. And like within a week, someone was willing to take it for like a couple $100 more than what we bought it for. So we're like, all right, let's just, we just knew pretty quickly. I think the first job we really did with it, we loaded a bunch of tile
Yeah.
into it. And we just had this truck full of tile. And we're like, this sucks. So as soon as we did that, like one time, we're like, all right, we need to go back to dumping because we were used to the dump trailer and stuff for a little bit too. So
hell yeah. We got Sonoma Strong in the house. He says, I love seeing all these young go-getters getting money. Hell yeah, Matt. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Appreciate that. So guys, that first year, would you consider that, was that like full-time? Was that more like just kind of like a part-time gig trying to like figure things out? Like, were you taking this like real serious right away or not so much?
Yeah, I would say in high school was kind of like more of like a part-time thing. As soon as we dropped out of college, it was like full-time, but like we didn't have a full-time schedule like when we were first starting out. So we were kind of like sitting in a room just waiting for like that phone to ring almost. We were posting extra on Craigslist, and then we would go door knocking and stuff. So like it wasn't like full-time work, but like we were giving it everything we had. Like we were doing everything we could to keep going and get to that point where we were busy and then get to the point to hire our first guy.
Yeah.
All right, so now looking back, you know what you know now. You guys been in the game for, many years and all. What would you do different now that first year? Obviously to find more business and just to get like more full-time schedule going.
Yeah. I mean, first thing would have been do my research and get the license ahead of time
Okay.
to avoid that, because honestly, like that's what I say. Like the $14,000 that did hurt, but the real, like even looking back now, the amount of customers, like we already had some repeat customers. They would hit us back up, be like, "Oh, can you grab this junk?" And we'd have to literally send them a text like, "I'm sorry, we can't do it for another year or whatever." So it's like they're going to other people. So like that whole situation just cost us so much, even long term money. Because I
Yeah.
mean, we, I think about now, like it's all really about just paying the money and getting the advertising out, all to get the repeat clients in the end of the day. So we had the first 2 years of that really just kind of taken away. So we always like joke around that like our actual official starting date was like we're 7 years in, but it's really closer to 5 because we couldn't do junk removal. But I would say, looking back, one thing that we did do right off the bat is we just wanted to think that we were just going to franchise all across the world as soon as possible. Like we first phone number was an 833 number off the bat because we were just like, we want to have a local number and all this and that. So I think that would be one thing where maybe I would have settled back a little bit. It's kind of like you give and take though, because the way that we did do it, we sacrificed a lot of early kind of money and instantly went into like that whole scale mode and wanted employees right off the bat. But now I guess it's a little bit better because we did get through that hump of everything. But I think good overall advice for anyone out there watching who's just kind of starting out would be to just grow slow and nice and organically and just look at everything 5 to 10 years out.
Okay, so meaning organically, like you wouldn't go and start spending on ads yet, or like any kind of marketing campaigns, kind of just keep it low budget right away, or would you go with the ads and all that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that you can't do ads if you gotta. It's hard early too because you're not paying attention to stuff. But like, it depends on the ROI on the ads. If a lot of people will go spend ads on all different places to start off, which obviously you got to do things just to start yourself off. But I think it's more like trying to pace yourself, because I just remember constantly Rich and I always saying like we don't really care about profit right now. We just care about growing, and like that's all that mattered. But we did that for a very long time. Like they're talking like 5 years, I think, that we were only living off of scrap money and stuff that we sold, because any extra dollar, anything that was in the business would go to the next truck or hiring the next employee and getting ourselves as far away from being in the truck basically as we could, which definitely comes with its benefits, because at some point you do have to make the decision to do that if that's your goal, is to get out of the truck and like build a team and all that type of stuff. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't know.
I think it really depends what your goal is and how much money you have to start off with. If like you're going right off the bat, if you just want a full-time job and you just want to make a good solid income, but you're working every day, which is great. I think there's a way to go about that, which is more organically, lower cost on advertising, and kind of like building like a much stronger social media presence for your local community and all that stuff, which you got to do in both aspects. But you can get a good income off of just doing that with little ads. If you're trying to scale and grow like very quickly, hire a bunch of employees, get out of the truck, work on more of the marketing end, then I think you need to spend a little quicker. But like it also helps when you have the money to be able to do that. So
Yeah. I mean, to sum everything up, I think that we're trying to say is like the one thing that Rich and I personally will tell ourselves that like we wish we would have did is we always say if we would have just stayed like on the truck for an extra year or two, we probably would have stashed away a ton of extra money.